we're walking around. There's lots of semis, and there's also a lot of girls out there, and a lot of them are they look like half our age. They look like they could be like 8 or 9 years old.
You know, Angie's not any different than anyone else's child. She wants love. She wanted to feel some sense of security.
We get in the first truck, and the guy decides he wants me, so I go back there, and I just have to pray to God, just please help me, just please let me get through it. And then all I could think about the whole time was how my grandpa could be this guy right now, and how that would feel. And I just wanted to die.
Oh, it's complete denial. Nobody believes this is going on. Nobody accepts it. That's why this is so hard to infiltrate by law enforcement. We can't get in because the victims are trapped and nobody else believes this is truly going on. Nobody believes that your neighbor next door could be a victim of human or sex trafficking.
We are the #1 destination for human trafficking. That statistic was shocking to me. I thought, how can this be? The land of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and yet in our midst we have the slavery of the 21st century, which is human trafficking.
I don't want to be the law enforcement officer that has to go and tell the family that we found their daughter or their son and the news isn't good. You know, that's something that we have to face as law enforcement, and I'm tired of doing that. I've done that for many, many years, for more than 2 decades. I don't want to do that anymore.
She was a high school student, good girl, great family, wasn't looking to run away or anything, and she got to know a young man very briefly in her high school that was trying to become a friend to her, but she was being cautious, as every girl should be. And one day she was walking home from school, and he came up alongside of her in his car, and he says, "Hey, I'll give you a ride home." And she said, "Okay." And she woke up in a very dingy hotel room with many men around her, and she had been raped multiple times. And the perpetrator said to her, "I know where you live, I know your family, I know your sister, and if you dare go to the police, I will kill them."
From the very beginning, they drilled it into my head, they drilled it into her head that, if we try to act up, something really bad was going to happen. He threw me into the dining room table, busted me up pretty good, but Chrissy, he dragged up the stairs by her hair, threw her down the stairs, and did it again like 3 more times. I didn't want to end up dead, I didn't want her dead, and it be my fault, it's like they had us completely wrapped, completely controlled, to where we were brainwashed, to where we were like, okay, we have to do this or else, something bad could happen. That's what they did. They just played us off each other, and it worked. We are, I'm 15 years old, my cousin is 14, and we're young girls, terrified out of our minds.
14-year-old, they're supposed to be playing sports and laughing and running and when we look at our culture, we still think that kids 14 they're supposed to be having fun and enjoying the things that kids do. I've had a lot of people come in this office right here and tell me, I saw that taking place, and I just thought to myself, that surely can't be what I'm seeing. And after a year or two, they finally realized, because of a tragedy, that what they were seeing was really happening. She gets in too deep. She can't get out now. She was just wanting to make enough money to give her child a life. Once she got in, they wouldn't let her out. She tried to get out, and they beat her. They have failures, and they don't know how to deal with them. And this is a failure. This is a catastrophic failure. It's a tough thing. It definitely is a tough thing. We hear the horror stories in the United States a lot of times about girls that were dumped at truck stops and bodies were found near rest areas. And a lot of times in tragic situations, we found out somebody knew. Somebody thought it was going to happen, somebody knew it was going to happen, and they didn't tell anybody because they thought, oh, it's a joke, it's exaggerated, you know, somebody just needs attention, and in reality it was real. We talk about the sex trade. Girls don't want to do that. I don't know of any girls that want to lay with multiple sex partners as a hobby. You know, and some of these girls are having to sleep with as many as 27 guys a day. You know, there's no girls that want to do that. There is so much money in that industry that the bigger people are going to come in and try to take their competition out. We've heard of so many stories that are originating out of the school systems in and around us, but then nobody has any hard facts to bring to us so we can get involved. But what we do know is it is prevalent in our community.
So it's here in Tulsa, it's here in Oklahoma. And because of our location, geographically, Oklahoma is very vulnerable. We have all the interstates, and so these people move through our state all the time, through truck stops and looking for victims.
Prostitution is a huge, huge business. It's everywhere. It's in Tulsa. It's one of the major economic booms in Las Vegas, Nevada. Even though it's illegal in Clark County, they're handing out pamphlets of just like you would get an auto trader, you got a human trader of prostitutes. All these victims are expendable to them, and they really are, because once they get rid of one victim, there's another victim waiting. And nobody's exempt from it. Absolutely nobody's exempt. And when you get into a clandestine criminal organization, there's always someone bigger that's willing to take you out to get your clientele. That's how they make their money. That's why drug dealers die all the time. It's because if you're not the big kingpin, somebody's coming for you. It's almost like a gang. It's like blood in, blood out. You know, you're going to find your way in, and then you're going to be threatened with your life to get out, because not only are you now involved in a bigger ring, you're a witness. You know, you can try to move away, so they're going to find you. With the cyber world out there, with social media, the internet, it's hard to hide in this world anymore, no matter who you are. It's really disturbing, and it's heart-wrenching that these kids get caught up in this, and they don't feel like there's a way out, and there is a way out. They just have to be committed to getting out. If they don't commit to themselves, there's nobody that can help them get out. And when they finally hit that breaking point, and they decide, that's it for me, I'm coming out of this, no matter what happens, then that's the people that you can positively affect. Our kids are having to deal with things that my culture didn't deal with, your generation didn't deal with. Drugs are rampant. We know that. They're in the schools. They're in the elementary schools. We're having to deal with things that we've never seen before in our culture. We can't put a label on them. It's anybody from a teenage. There's pimps inside the school systems in our culture. And what they're doing is they're pimping out the girls, and they're trading out drugs for sex. And then what they do is they start having their buddies pay to come over and have sex with the girls. And next thing you know, they're so involved in the culture they can't get out. And then you get into bigger crimes where you have cartels that are using girls for trade.
My older sister is a counselor out in San Diego, California, and she worked at a high school this past year, and she told me more than one story of girls who were, like you were saying, as young as 13 or 14 years old.
If someone does go to the police, they can actually help that victim and the family and prosecute that person that's been trafficking them. We do have laws right now that define human trafficking, and it's a separate crime, and they will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. So never believe that lie that you can't go to the police.
If you or any of your friends are subject to any of this type of victimization, you have to be committed. You're going to have to go to somebody that can give you the aid and resources that you need to get out of being a victim. There's going to be embarrassment, there's going to be humiliation, but ultimately you will have your life. There is always help out there, there's always somebody that cares, and it is up to you to make that mental commitment to get out of these situations if you're a victim. What's the first thing the teenager's going to say? Nope, didn't happen to me. No, they got it wrong. I don't know who said that, they're lying. You know, you need to wake up, smell the coffee, if you will. the ones that are most vulnerable are the ones that are sitting there that may watch this and go, that'll never happen to me. You know, there's no way that they could do that to me. Those are the people that are most vulnerable of being victims.